All right, everybody, thanks again. Welcome back here with Lydia Ko. Reminder, I'll kick off with a few questions. If you have any questions here in the room, go up to the microphones. If you're on Zoom, please let me know in the chat or use the raise hand. Again, joined by Lydia Ko, currently sitting third in the Rolex Women's World Golf Rankings and already a 2022 winner. Lids, you won in your last start, the Gainbridge LPGA at Boca Rio. Your last 7 starts across multiple tours finish in the top 10 every time. What have you found in your game, in yourself, that really seems to be clicking right now?
Yeah, I've obviously, been putting myself in contention a lot, and I think when you start doing that more often, you just get a little bit more confidence, and week in, week out, the technique and skill things doesn't change that much, but when you get in a good rhythm of things, I think sometimes some putts that might have lipped out, lips in. For me, when I won Gamebridge, I hit a shot that I think most of the time it would have gone out of bounds, but I got a really lucky kick off the tree, and then I was inbounds, and I was able to save par from there. So kind of things start falling your way, and I've kind of been able to feed off that kind of momentum, just trying to keep it super simple and just being confident and having fun out there. And I think at the end of the day, I know that I play the best when I'm enjoying my time out there and I'm, being a little bit more relaxed. So keeping that kind of mindset and, just focusing on the one shot in front of me and trying to play the best golf I can.
So you're coming here off a month-long break, having last played at Boca. How'd you spend that time off?
Yeah, I was actually never playing the event after Boca, so to be able to win and then kind of have that long stretch off was really nice. Even though we have an off season, I think off season goes by super quick, just with Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. The first Hilton Grand Vacations event comes around really quick, so I felt like I needed a little bit more time before the first couple events, and that's why I chose to take an extra week off before this Asia and West Coast swing. And I, worked with my coach, did some good work with my trainers, had some time off, spent some time with family and friends. So yeah, I've kind of had like 2 off seasons, which was really nice. And just kind of making sure that the things that I'm working with, Sean, like not doing new things, but just trying to get little bit better, and for me to have a little bit better understanding and clarity in just my whole swing in my game.
So now you're here in Singapore. It's your 8th straight year coming here. You've never finished worse than 15th, runner-up in 2015, still trying to get that elusive first win here. But how important is this tournament to you? You're always here. You're a fixture here. How important is it for you to play here in Singapore?
Yeah, I think they say this is like Asia's major. HSBC has always done a fantastic job of hosting this event. Obviously, the last couple of years, it's been little different circumstances, different environment, just with COVID and everything. But yeah, the golf course is in great shape. I was lucky enough to play both the Serapong and the new Tanjong here out at Sentosa, and they always make it in that pristine shape that you're trying to play the best golf you can there. This year, I think they grew out the rough a little bit, so it's a little bit more demanding than other years. But Imbi mentioned it before, and she said it's fair for everyone. I don't think it suits one specific type of player, and I like that. It just kind of puts a lot more players in contention, and hopefully we'll be able to put on a good showcase this week.
Reminder to everyone, if you have a question here in the room, please just feel free to head to the microphone or to let me know in the chat on Zoom. Speaking of Zoom, we do have a question there. We're going to open up to Spencer Robinson again. Spencer, you can unmute your line, please.
Hi there. Hi, Lydia. Welcome back to Singapore. We were just speaking before with Kim. It was 10 years ago that you and her had an incredible contest in the Queen Surrogate Cup at Tanamera Country Club. I wonder if you can tell us your recollections of that. And as a second part, as an amateur back in those days, how important was the Queen Surrogate Cup to you as kind of a stepping stone into the pro game?
Yeah, being from New Zealand, and to be able to represent, my country, it's always special to be kind of in that team environment. And, the Queen Circuit Cup was one of the few events that we could travel, with teammates and go and play these golf courses. The Queen Circuit Cup was pretty much the Asia Pacific Championship. So we had the top players of all these, players from different countries in Asia and from Australia and New Zealand as well. So met a lot of friends, like Minji and Hyoju are all that I kind of met through those kind of times. I remember with Hyoju, every time we played the Queen Circuit Cup, she would shoot one crazy low score, like 9 under one day, like 8 under, and I was like, oh my gosh, like you can't beat her. Now I remember being like the best Queen Circuit Cup we had was, I think, back in New Zealand, which was my first Queen Circuit Cup. And even that year, I think she played and she shot a really low score on the final day, and then they beat us by miles. But it just shows, the type of player she is. She's a major champion. She's had a successful amateur career, and to kind of have some of those players that I played amateur golf with, and for all of us to be playing on the LPGA, it's great. A lot of familiar faces, and I think at that time especially, I think we motivated each other to just want to strive to become a better player. And that's why I really enjoyed those times and enjoy playing alongside them now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Spencer. Are you done? Looks like it. Thank you, Spencer. We're going to stay on Zoom and go to Matt Brown with News Talk ZB Sport in New Zealand. Matt, go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, Lydia. Have you made any plans yet to get back down to New Zealand now that you probably heard the news that our borders are finally open for Kiwis, I think as of this coming weekend, so you won't have to isolate when you do come back down under?
Yeah, obviously super exciting times. It also just shows like how New Zealand's kind of dealt with this whole situation of everything. And now I have friends that are excited to go back home as well that haven't been able to in a while. I haven't made plans as of now to know exactly when I'm going to go back. The last time I was back, it was in 2019 during the middle of the year. So hopefully I'll be back soon. Just during the year, it is pretty difficult to go back, and especially me living on the East Coast back in the US. But yeah, hopefully the borders keep staying open, and I'll be back home to see my friends and just go back to the area that I grew up from.
And Lydia, just on your golf, it seems such a long time ago that you won, where yet it was your last tournament only a few weeks ago. What have you specifically, I guess, been working on? And is it harder to get back to work after a win than maybe a normal week if you haven't won?
I had already booked, organized with Sean to have lessons on like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, or something that week right after the Game Bridge. So we were right back into it on Tuesday. I worked out with my trainer on Monday, the day after. But yeah, I think it was more just me having more clarity on just my swing. Just sometimes. A lot of the times it's just Derek and I, my caddy and I, that are out there. So I think it's just as important for me to have a better understanding of where I'm at and why, and what my tendencies are, and why I hit some of these questionable shots. And I think the better understanding of that, then I'm able to kind of get through those kind of times better, and even on the golf course, try and find ways to just get around it. Because at the end of the day, when I'm playing, I'm not trying to have the most perfect swing. I'm trying to shoot the lowest score I can. And sometimes I'm not going to have my A game. So trying to manage my way around it is just as important.
Thanks, Matt. And I have to say, as someone who's emailed with you a lot, it's nice to finally see what you look like. We'll stay here in the room and we'll go to John with the Straits Times.
Hi, Lydia. Just two questions. One is, we spoke earlier, could you just maybe elaborate when you talked a bit about, personal wins, even if you don't win during that week? What exactly would a personal win be like for you? And the second thing is, what are some of the challenges or major differences playing golf during the pandemic, and how challenging has that been? Is it perhaps the lack of crowds, the restrictions, living in a bubble? You could talk a bit about that as well.
Yeah, I think for me, when I do goal setting, I don't really do like, I want to win 5 times in the year. Like, of course, I would love to win 5 times, but sometimes I could play great golf and then somebody plays better than me, and then I don't win, and it is difficult to win. So I just try and set more like process and progress goals, whether it's increasing my fairways hit percentage, greens in regulation, and when I do that better, I know that my results will come with that. So those are kind of the some of my big goals for this year, and just being able to kind of embrace the situation and just enjoy the moment a little bit better, rather than getting too far ahead of myself or getting too caught up in maybe a possible mistake that I made. And to obviously, we've kind of lived in this situation of COVID now for pretty much 2 years, and it's flown by if you think about it, but things are different. Like this week we're here and we're not really in a bubble, but I think just with testing and us going and playing in Thailand next week, I think at the end of the day everybody is still being careful. Like this week we don't have general spectators, so and they are a big part of this event, and I know people here in Singapore really enjoy watching us and having the LPGA in town. So you would think they're small things, but in the end they become big. Right now, a lot of things are opening up. Like in the US, we had, I think Gamebridge might have been the first or like one in a while where we had a full field, like spectators and everything. But so we're kind of moving in the direction of what was normal before. But it's still around us. I still think we need to be careful, and this doesn't end like on just us, it affects other people around us. So I think that's why people are being more just cautious with everything. But yeah, hopefully we do come back here and we see the fans, and we're able to roam the streets here a little bit more freely. But I think it makes you be very thankful that sometimes the thing that we thought was normal may not be so normal anymore. So just kind of be grateful for what we have, and I think that's kind of been my perspective of things.
Thank you. As we start to wrap up, we'll head back to Zoom to Jonathan with Golf Matters. Jonathan, you can unmute your microphone.
Hi Lydia, welcome back to Singapore. So 7th tie last year, and you got a pretty good record in this event on the Tanjong course, and given that you're in good form right now, what do you think your chances are? Do you like your chances, and what's the key to scoring well in the Tanjong?
I hope my chances are good. Yeah, I mean, it'd be a pretty bad start if I thought, went into the week thinking my chances were not so good. But in saying that, we have world number 1 Jin Young here playing this week. I know it's also Hyoju, the defending champions, first weekend for this season. Imbi is a multiple-time winner here, so we have a lot of big names here. This is another great field this week, so it's going to be difficult. But I just got to focus on my game and play the best score I can. And yeah, no, the setup of it is pretty similar. I just saw that the rough is probably a little longer than previous years, where they might have been runoffs and it was just fairway, but now they've made it into a little bit more rough. So I think that just makes it a touch more demanding than the years before. So just kind of managing my way around it, and also the heat is a big part of being here over in this part of the world. So just making sure that I'm hydrated and staying cool is also very important.
Thanks, Lydia. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. And we're going to close with 2 questions off the Zoom. The first was put here in the chat, Billy from Golf Digest Hong Kong. Lydia, he's asking, as the season restarts, what are your goals for the 2022 season?
Like I said earlier, my goal is to, I think my fairways hit percentage was like 60-something% last year. So my goal is to go over 70% in my driving accuracy. And then for greens and regulation to be over 75%. I think both of those aspects were better at the end of my season last year. And I think the results were also better. So if those things are better, I think it takes a little less stress. It puts stress off my short game a little bit, and I think I'm just able to be a little bit more aggressive with my plays. So those are probably my biggest keys for this year.
Great. And then we'll close back on the Zoom with a question from Matt Kermere from New Zealand. Matt, you can unmute your line, please.
Hey Lydia, it's Matt Kameen from Stuff here. You just mentioned there, I think it was midway through 2019 since you've been back home. I know you're used to being away from home a lot, but was that hard, especially after the Olympics and stuff like that, to not be able to get back to New Zealand? Like, has it been hard on you?
To be honest, I didn't go back home after the 2016 Rio Olympics either, to back home. So, like, yeah, I would obviously love to have gone back with the other New Zealand Olympians and, go celebrate being at home, and especially, the time difference and everything, for kind of be able to celebrate with my friends and people that I'm really close with back in New Zealand. But obviously, just with circumstances, I know it's not easy. My best friend still lives over there. So even though I don't have family there, I have people that I feel like are family are still there. And, even just going back to my old school or in the neighborhood that I used to live, like it draws back so many good memories. So I do miss it, though I have, my dad and I sometimes call and then we talk about some of the things that, happened. And it's like when you're there, it really, like, you're able to kind of draw that up in your mind. So I would love to go back home. And, it is super exciting to hear that the borders are open. And I can't wait to be back whenever that may be.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Thanks so much, Lydia. Good luck this week. We'll see you out there.
Thank you.